What up, everybody? It is Deezy Sports Talk here, and today I'm coming at you with another video. I'm going to be starting a new series here where I go through every NFL team's offseason and what their best offseason should look like, whether it's through the draft, re-signing players, and the free agency, stuff like that. I know I'm going to be starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers today, and the Steelers had a really interesting year. They started off great, 11-0, but it just really went downhill from there. They lost 4 of the last 5 games. They were getting a lot of media criticism from Juju dancing, and they were all in the news. And it was kind of embarrassing for them, the way they lost to the Browns. We'll start off with the quarterback position. I know Big Ben wants to come back. Honestly, I think he's holding them back from being like a really good team, but they're gonna have to ride with him for now. They did sign Dwayne Haskins. He could be a nice pickup. He's really cheap, low risk, high reward, but hopefully he can learn behind Big Ben, mature and grow if he sits behind him for a year. He was an incredible talent in college. He just needs to grow up as a guy, and he needs to work harder. He could be something really special, but there's a chance he just doesn't work out, and he's a failed player. And if that's the case, they're going to have to draft a quarterback either next year to get ready for Big Ben to retire. Next up, at the wide receiver position, Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent, and I really don't think he's worth coming back. He hasn't really produced great numbers since Antonio Brown left in 2018. He had a 1,400-yard season that year, and that's because Avery was drawing all the double coverage. He was getting the most attention, so he's able to get open. Juju has a lot of talent, but I don't know if he's going to be that number one guy on the team, as he's only had 1,300 yards in the last 2 seasons. He's regressed a lot in terms of like stats. He does get a lot of attention as well, but Avery still put up great numbers getting all those attention. So I just don't think he's a guy. I don't think he's worth all the extracurricular things. I'm all for guys having fun and like dancing and doing all that stuff, but when it becomes a distraction to the team and you guys start losing games and you start losing them bad and it gets embarrassing, and he continues to do it on social media as if they didn't get blown out by the Browns, I mean, that's just not a good look. And if I'm the Steelers, that's not what I want my team to be about. Steelers are great at producing wide receivers. They just drafted Chase Claypool, who was looking like a great rookie receiver. He can be that number one guy. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. And they've had a lot of issues with wide receivers in the past. Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Juju, Santonio Holmes, Plaxico Burress, who shot himself in the foot. I mean, they need to relax on getting all these crazy wide receivers. But I mean, I'm not calling him crazy, but I think he's replaceable. I think they'll be better off without him. I think it'll be bring a lot better image to the team instead of just doing TikToks. At the running back position, Steelers really struggled running the ball this year. They just could not get anything going. James Conner is an upcoming free agent. He's shown flashes of being a running back one. He was a Pro Bowl a couple of years ago, but I just don't think he's consistent enough, and I think he needs like a good O-line to produce, which the Steelers had a couple of years ago. They don't anymore. They have Benny Snell as a backup, and I think they're pretty similar runners. I don't think there would be a point to keep both of them, like re-sign Conner. Running backs aren't that hard to come by in the NFL nowadays. But a guy they could look to draft if they choose to draft a running back in the first round is Najee Harris from Alabama. He's a beast. He could be exactly what they're looking for. He's a big power guy, and he has speed. He can also be decent in the pass game. Also, a guy they can look in the first round, maybe in the second round if they could trade up, is Travis Etienne from Clemson. He'd be perfect for them. Really elusive speed back who also can be really good in the pass game, which they like Le'Veon Bell for. But if they don't go for a running back in the first round, guys like Chuba Hubbard or Trey Sermon are available, and those guys could be really good in the NFL as well. Chuba Hubbard led the league led college football in rushing yards last year. He's a beast. He's a Heisman finalist, so he's a lot of talent. Trey Sermon went off in the playoffs as well. So those are the guys they were looking for. Their biggest problem this upcoming year is going to be their O-line. Alejandro Villanueva is going to leave probably. He's 32 years old, and Marquise Pouncey is likely to retire as well. David DeCastro is 31 years old, and he regressed a lot this year. And their other O-line are just not that good. I think their offensive lineman should be their main focus in the draft this year. And a guy they could look for is Christian Darrisaw, left tackle from Virginia Tech. He had the second highest Pro Football Focus grade at his position this year, and the highest run block grade at 95.6. And running block is exactly what they need. He's a force at tackle. He would replace Villanueva, and he'd probably be better than him. Another guy you can get in the draft, maybe in the third round, is David Moore, guard from Grambling State. He opted out of the 2020 season, but he's a mauler. He was training with Hall of Famer Bruce Matthews, who's one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time. And he was invited to the Senior Bowl this year, and he was a standout. He won Practice Player of the Week. that was voted by his opposing players, so that means something. That award is given to the best offensive lineman. Yeah, the guy's an absolute beast, and he can help out immediately. He could be a day one starter. Next up on the defensive side of the ball, I think they need to bring back Bud Dupree. He did tore his ACL, and that really sucks. That's a huge blow. He was really coming on the last few years, looking like the first-round pick they drafted in 2015. He was struggling his first bunch of years, but he really started to come on looking like a defensive force along with TJ Watt. He's only 28 years old still, which is like fringe. Is he on the decline? But I mean, after a torn ACL, you never really know with these guys. And I think they need to re-sign him. He can come back strong with TJ Watt, and Devin Bush is also coming back from the ACL. So that's looking like a really good linebacker group if they're able to return healthy. Steelers are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to cap space, and they can't really go after big name guys in the O-line like Brandon Scherf, Joe Thuney if they're available. And the Steelers may have gone 12-4 last year, but it wasn't pretty at all. They have a lot of holes to fix. I think their offense will struggle next year, and their defense is gonna have to carry. They're gonna be young and inexperienced at some positions, and I don't know if they'll be there next year. I think Big Ben will hold them back. He throws a lot of interceptions. He's just not mobile anymore. He can be inaccurate at some points, but if they aren't there next year, I think in 2023 they'll be a real contender again, and if they draft right. But yeah, that's all I got for you today, guys. Let me know what team you want next in the comments below. Easy out here. Peace.